This is the District 2 Town Hall, and we're going to be talking about the merger of District 2, District 9, and District 32. Normally, June Lear, the district director, would be here to introduce me and facilitate, but she's not feeling well. So I'm going to take over. If I think if one of the other current district directors shows up and wants to help facilitate, I would welcome that. But otherwise, I'll try to handle it. So, as I said, we're going to talk about today about the merger of District 2, 32, and 9. And let me start by just answering a few of the questions that I was thinking would be foremost in people's minds. What's going on? So District 9 is eastern Washington with a little strip of Idaho and a little strip of the western end of Idaho and a little strip of the northern end of Oregon. That's District 9. And they pretty much end at the Cascades. And then between the Cascades and the Sound is District 2. It goes from, I think the south end is Federal Way up to the Canadian border. And District 32 goes from the Sound, Tacoma, down through Olympia, no further than Chehalis. And so all of that Olympic Peninsula and several of the southwestern counties, and then all of Alaska. So those are three large geographies, and TI is merging the three of them. So we are becoming one district. We are going to be combined, and the name of the new district is going to be District 2. TI has some process by which they pick the number that the district will have, and our combined district will be District 2. So why is this going on? There's a lot of reasons, or depending upon your perspective. And let me see if I can get rid of my cat, because she really does not want to be put down, but she's getting in the way. Why is this going on? Let's look at it from the district's point of view first. Our clubs, our districts were gutted by by COVID. So where is it? It's right here. I wanted to give you the actual information. So between July of 2019 and August of 2024, District 2 dropped 39%, almost 40%. Went from 195 clubs to 119. District 9 went from 69 clubs to 44, 36%. District 32 went from 93 clubs down to 52, a 44% drop. We were gutted by COVID. And there are some consequences to that. With smaller districts, with fewer clubs, the district leadership has less money in the budget with which to use for marketing to grow clubs and grow existing clubs and grow new clubs, and to put on worthwhile events. One of the biggest consequences is with fewer number of clubs, there's a smaller pool of people from which to draw the district leadership. And by district leadership, I'm talking area directors, division directors, club growth, program quality, district director, and admin and PRM, public relations and finance, and there's all those leadership roles we need. This pool of people you can draw from gets smaller with fewer clubs, and what happens is people have to step up over and over again in order to keep the district working, and they start getting what I call leadership fatigue. They get exhausted. And there have been a couple of districts in the world that have basically that have gotten so small, they've sent letters to TI saying, we are exhausted. Unless you do something, we're not going to have we will not have any leaders, district leaders, next year. So TI realized they were aware there was a challenge, but they realized it had reached a crisis a point of crisis. So TI instigated this effort to merge to. It's actually a worldwide district realignment effort. It just turns out that the 5 districts here in the Northwest, and suddenly I mentioned 5 when I've only mentioned 3. I'll talk about that in a second. The 5 districts here in the Northwest were chosen as a first group, and there's some districts down in Texas that I'm not going to talk about. They were also chosen as first group. These are the groups that are going through the test process to work the bugs out of the process. So yeah, we get to work the bugs out of the process. The 5 groups that were, it was District 2, 9, 32, 21, and 96. Now 21 and 96 are both in Canada. So how does this process work? How did this process work? TI asked the 5 districts to form a committee and look at how where the clubs were, and how things would work out. What they wanted us to figure out what would be the best alignment of districts in order to create larger, more workable districts. And their goal was they wanted between 120 and 180 clubs. Well, that committee was formed. I was asked to be on that committee. I was asked to represent District 32 on that committee, and we worked through the end of the summer and fall. And the basic result of the meeting was, hey, we think we should use the U.S. Canadian border as the boundary. So the 3 U.S. clubs, Alaska, Washington, merge, and the 2 Canadian clubs, 2 Canadian districts, 96 and 21, merge. At the time, we thought the border was a good boundary. One, because you ended up with 2 districts that were both had clubs, a number of clubs in about the 200 range. And 2, the border can be a challenge to get across depending upon traffic, which border crossing you're using and whatnot. And for leaders to have to go, district leaders to have to go across, we figured, yeah, that's probably not as an advantageous situation. So that was the recommendation from the committee, was 32, 9, and 2 all merge. And now that merger process has started. And we're going to talk about what that process looks like in a second. I want to see if I had one other note here. How does this affect me and my club? How does this merger affect me and my club? Here's the biggest thing you should keep in mind, especially if you're a club president or an area director and you're talking to a club. The majority of clubs, this merger is not going to affect them at all. They're barely going to notice. And why is that? Well, most Toastmasters don't leave their club. Most Toastmasters don't step up to be area director. Most of them don't get involved in competing. Most of them don't go to Toastmaster conferences. Now, where will you notice the difference? You'll notice the difference if you compete outside the club, if you step up to be an area or division director or above, and if you choose to go to Toastmaster conferences. You might notice at officer trainings, maybe, club officer trainings. And here's why. The district is going to be bigger. The divisions are going to be a little bit bigger geographically. Areas may be a little bit bigger geographically. So if you're going to a club officer training, some of them are going to be online. Great. Doesn't affect you at all. If they happen to have planned a in-person officer training, you might have to drive a little further than you used to. Just if you like to go to the district conferences, or if you're winning the speech contest and you get to go to the district conference. Well, district conferences are going to be held in different locations. We don't know where yet. Probably close to an airport. But it could be held down near SeaTac Airport. It could be held up near the Alaskan Airport. I forget what it's called. It could be held over in Spokane, depending upon where the conference committee has planned to have the conference that year. So odds are you may have to travel a little further, and there may be, time involved in making those travel plans, time and money involved. Now, that has not been a stranger to District 32. We've been flying back and forth. People from Washington flying up to Alaska, people from Alaska flying down here. Now D2 and D9 get to experience it. And if you think that's ridiculous, having a district that's so big, you might have to fly. There are area directors in Australia who have to fly 8 hours to do a club visit. So other parts of the world have it way worse than we do. So most people are not going to be affected by this. The last thing I want to mention before I just open the floor for questions is if you are a current club officer or a district officer, what do you need to do? If you're a district officer, area director, division director above, you have a vote in the district council meeting. So you need to plan to be there. If you are a club president or VPE, you have a vote in the district council meeting and you need to plan to be there. The things you need to be aware of. Your district right now, your current district, is going to have a district business meeting, probably online, before May 17th, where they're going to deal with district business that is only appropriate to your district. So District 32 is doing theirs. I had it up on screen a second ago. Give me 1 second.
May 3rd.
May 3rd. Thank you. I lost that. So District 32 is doing it on May 3rd. I don't know when District 2 is doing it. I don't know when District 9 is doing it. Look to your local newsletters. You need to show up at that and do that bit of district business. There's a candidate showcase on May 12th. That's where we're going to meet the the slate of nominees to be district officers for next year. We have one person who has been put forward to be district director. We have 2 for club program quality director and 2 for club growth director. It is going to be an election. It's not just going to be a, blessing the person. So that candidate showcase, and we also have division directors, and they get elected. And we're going to meet those people on May 12th. You should come to that. There's no voting. And then all 3 districts are having their district conference on Saturday, May 17th. That is, by the way, just a coincidence. No, there was no plan. It just happened. All 3 districts the same day. And then on Tuesday, May 20th, this is the important one. This is the combined business meeting where the current president and VPEs of the club and the current officers of all those 3 districts are going to vote on our leaders for next year and the district alignment for next year. So that, and by the way, when I say the club presidents and club VPEs, those are the people who have the right to vote. They have the proxy, the right to vote. They cannot give it to somebody else in their club. I thought they could. Turns out I was wrong. They cannot, if the president and VPE are not planning on going to the meeting and Bob is, you cannot give the vote to Bob. The president and VP have to be there, and if they're not there, then your club's voice will not be heard. Now, that's the background information I wanted to share. I've talked for, wow, almost 13 minutes. So let me answer questions for you. What are the burning issues you have? Rick, go ahead.
If I may just piggyback on your last statement, please make sure that you register to participate in May 20th meeting. You do not want to have a mail-in ballot to approve what happens at that meeting. We desperately need a quorum, all 3 districts. Please make sure you're there to create a quorum.
So, and let me add a technical detail to that. I understand we're going to be using Election Buddy, and I have handled meetings using Election Buddy before. It's not a bad tool. It's a pretty good tool. Here's the thing. When you register to attend the meeting, you need to use the email you're going to be using at the meeting. Now, why do I say this? Because we had people, I'm at work, happened to be dealing with a home email from work. They registered for the meeting on their work email, and then the meeting was taking place while they were at home, and suddenly they don't have access to their work email, and they can't vote. because they can't get the ballot because the ballot's showing up on their work email. So you need to be using the email you're going to use on the day of the meeting. Just a little nitpicky detail.
And
Questions?
if I may add that the meeting is scheduled to start at 7 o'clock on May 20th in the evening.
7 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Alaska time.
And past International President Gary Schmidt will be chairing the meeting.
Yes. Yeah. I've known Gary for years, and I'm really glad to have him stepping up to do that. He's a very experienced leader. Questions? Oh, come on. Somebody's got a question. Vicky, I know you've got a question.
Hi, Kyle. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All righty, thank you. So the first question on my mind is, when will the registration link for the May 20th meeting be available?
I thought it was available already. I believe
Yes,
it's
it
available on the.
It
I
is.
believe. Okay, so the link is available. I believe it's on the D2 website. I don't know if I've seen it. Excuse me. It may have gone out in Melissa's email this morning. I can't check it right now because I'm talking with you.
It is available on the D2 site. I'm looking at it, about to register. So
Right. And I'm going to, I believe I posted it in my merger blog, but if I haven't, I'll get it posted there tonight.
Okay. And then the question that I've already shared with you, Kyle, by email and for the group, I'm in Alaska.
Yep.
We have 19 clubs in Alaska, one of which is either dying or already dead, taking us to 18. We will be less than 10% club number and probably even a smaller percentage member number of this new District 2, Super District 2. The issue that we face in Alaska when we have to travel to, I'll rephrase that, when we want to travel, when we choose to travel to a Toastmaster event, is time and expense.
Yep.
Getting in and out of Alaska in one day is nearly impossible.
Yep.
So when our members are competing, and the district conference is very likely going to be somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, will there be an allowance for them, a per diem allowance for them, for that member to come down, not have to compete the day they're flying? Will they be able to get a decent night's sleep before they are competing? Will there be a per diem allowance and a travel allowance for them? Has that been?
So I can't tell you what will happen. I can tell you what hasn't happened in the past. While I have seen clubs support their members to clubs have, for instance, oh, you're going to represent us at the district contest. Well, we'll help you with your conference, fees or things like that. I've seen clubs or club members help people. Usually, in the past, the district, and it may actually be in the TI bylaws, but usually the district does not help competitors fly or travel to contests. Usually that's up to the competitor. Now, there's two things here. There's the expense and there's the time. So I can't tell you whether or not any arrangement will be made, whether the district budgets would allow it, because we won't know what the district budget looks like. The leaders won't know what the district budget looks like until the middle of next summer, and it'll depend upon what their plans are and so forth. I would have to check. Rick, do you know if TI bylaws even allow districts to help?
Unless the board changes their policy, the answer is no.
Okay, that's what I thought. Now, there may be money available to help area directors and division directors get to trainings. We did that when I was district director. We flew the Alaskan area and division directors down to Washington State to attend the training. So there was some money for that, but not for competitors. And then anyone else who's just going to a conference, that's, now that's the cost. Now, in the District 32, we swapped the conferences every once. It would be in Anchorage one year, down here another year, Anchorage, and so forth. I don't know whether that's going to happen. Where those conferences are going to be taking place is going to be up to the future leaders. So we'll have to see about that. Now, time-wise, I'll mention this. District 32, before we merged with Alaska, we used to start doing club contests in late February, early March, and area contests in end of March, and division contests in April, and then the conference was in May. So everything was clustered in a really compact time between the end of February and May. And I believe District 2 is doing that now. I don't know what District 9 is doing contest-wise. But once Alaska merged with us and we realized people need time to make travel arrangements, we spread it out. And I expect that will probably happen again, or at least the discussion about doing that will happen again. What we do in District 32 now is club contests in January, area contests in February, division contests in March, nothing is in April, conference in May. And that gives the people who have to plan air flights and hotels at least a little bit of time to do it, and a little bit of time to book things in advance. It's not perfect, but it's better. I hope I've answered your question.
Well, you told me what I was expecting to hear.
Yeah.
I was hoping for something, well, whoever the leadership is of this new district, I do hope that they will consider all aspects and not the majority of the members. My other question for you, Kyle, is what will happen with the 3 district treasuries? Will they be merged? Does TI control that, or do you know?
So there is a transition committee that has been formed. There are 3 committees. Let me talk about the 3 committees. 2 of them have already done their job. One of them was the district leadership committee. They were finding the candidates for officers for next year. They released their report a week or so ago, week and a half ago. It should be on various district websites. It's also in the merger blog. The alignment committee released their report like 2 days ago. And that's what are the new divisions going to look like, what are the new areas going to look like, and so forth. That's not on the merger blog yet. It may be on the district websites, but I'm going to get that on the district merger blog in a day or two. The the 3rd committee is the transition committee, and the transition committee is looking at everything else. Now there's a host of stuff there, and part of that is okay. Districts have reserves. Now TI has the reserves, but some of them, I know District 32 had a bank account, and I don't know whether 2 or 9 did, but we had a bank account with some money in it too. What's going to happen to all that? So that transition committee is looking at who's going to make that decision and how that's going to be made. Now TI is going to make some of it. TI will probably merge the reserves because that's all in their bank accounts anyway. But if District 32 has a bank account and 9 and 2 have a bank account, at some point accounts have to be shut down, money either put into a bank account or given to TI or whatever. The transition committee is looking at a ton of stuff, and they are not going to be making most of those decisions. Some of those decisions are going to be made by TI. A lot of those decisions are going to be made by next year's leadership. What the transition committee is going to be coming up with is a series of recommendations. We recommend you consider this. Here's based on what we know, here's what we think should happen. So for instance, District 2 has historical information. District 32 has historical information. District 9 has historical information. Some of it's online and some of it's in boxes in people's garages. What's going to happen to that? Well, the stuff that's online may be merged. Probably isn't too difficult a job to do that. The stuff that's in people's garages probably has to be gathered, examined, figured out what can be thrown out, what needs to be kept, what do we want to keep, and maybe that stuff has to be digitized. There may be an ongoing committee to deal with that issue. Another issue the transition committee is going to deal with. District 2, District 9, and District 32 have been dealing with contests differently. They all have to have the International Speech Contest in the spring. Have to. TI says that. There's 5 other contests. District 32 for the last 2 years has been rotating the 4 contests. The online contest didn't exist, so that wasn't included in the decision. So they were rotating the 4 contests: eval, humorous, tall tales, table topics. I do not know what District 2 was doing contest-wise, what their policy was, and I certainly don't know what District 9's policy was. The transition committee is gathering all of that and will be coming up with a recommendation for the new leadership team to figure out. The new leadership team is going to have a lot of decisions to make and a lot of proposals to think about and to discuss in the beginning of the year, July and August. So, I'm not sure I've answered your question. I apologize. It kind of went down a rabbit hole there.
You answered it, and Rick has his hand up again before I got mine back up. So
Okay.
To support what you said, Kyle, I was told by Mary Morrison that the board will be looking at the money after the board briefing, which was on March 26th. So the board will be discussing it real soon.
Oh, as in the TI board of directors.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I was told by Mary Morrison. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So I mentioned that this merger, the one happening, the 2932 merger and the 2196 merger up in Canada, and then a bunch of clubs down in Texas. These 2 merger efforts that are going on, or 3 merger efforts, are part of a test case to work the bugs out of the process. Because I don't think TI has had a defined process for merging districts. And this district realignment is going to project is going to look at all the districts all over the world eventually. But we're the test cases, so we get to work some of the bugs out of the system. And one of those bugs is what happens to the district reserves. You have another question, Vicki?
I do.
Okay.
No surprise. When I think about a transition team, I would love for that transition team or the leadership team of this newly merged district to include all the trios, all 3 of the trios. To me, that would create some synergy between the 3 districts and not weight the new trio, because very likely that trio is going to be weighted by the clubs out of the Pacific Northwest. But if all 3 of the districts had a voice on that transitional leadership in this first year, to me, I think that would benefit everyone.
Well, I can tell you that the club growth director, program quality director, and district director from all 3 districts have been invited to participate in the transition committee. Whether or not they choose to or have the time to, they've been invited to. And the nominated leaders for next year's roles, both the club growth directors and program quality directors and the nominated district director for next year have been invited to participate. Again, time permitting. So I agree with you. I think it's a good idea for next year's leadership to be involved. I think it's an excellent idea for this year's leadership to be involved. They know where the bodies are buried, metaphorically speaking. So that process is taking place.
Okay, so people here in Alaska need to talk to our trio.
Yep.
And encourage them to stay involved.
Mm.
So how long will the transition team be in existence? Has that been discussed?
Yes, it has been discussed. I don't think a decision has been made. It is projected that the transition committee is going to do a lot of work between now and maybe the end of June, and then but will continue to work for months into next year, maybe through the first half of the 25-26 year. It might even go longer if there's a couple of stubborn problems, but we would hope that they would be able to finish most of their work by halfway through next year.
Okay, and I don't want to monopolize the meeting, but I do have another question. Going back to contests, has there been discussion at, and Rick, maybe you can answer this, at the TI level about going to a hybrid opportunity for contests for districts like what we are going to create? And that the thought there is for someone who is competing at a division level, not having to fly to plan to travel, not having to put that cash outlay out, but be able to participate in a hybrid manner.
Yeah.
Has that been discussed? Or do we know?
Go ahead, Rick.
If I can partially answer that, if you go to the World Headquarters website and look at the board minutes for January 30th.
I read them and I listened to that meeting.
No, it's the next year's contest rule book is posted there with all the changes. So the board has discussed next year's speech contest, and I have no idea about the problem that you are facing, but it's the January 30th board minutes, the revised, and it shows all the changes in the speech contest planned for next year, and it'll be published without those the red lines that you see there. So that's the best I can give you for an answer.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to give a little bit of perspective on that issue because I've talked to several people about whether or not why didn't we do hybrid contests this year? And if you think about back in 2019, the rule was you had to be in the room to compete. Judges, contest chairs, officials, competitors all had to be in the same room to have a contest. That was it. And nobody thought anything about it. And then COVID hit and we were forced online. Now, the thing you have to realize is that TI is not a rowboat. TI is a cruise liner. It takes 15 miles to stop and 30 miles to make a turn. It's a big thing. Now, but TI had to do something really, really quick in the winter of 2020. So the quickest thing they could do was they could say, you know that rule that says you have to be in the same room to hold a contest? We're going to suspend that rule. That was a quick and easy, maybe not an easy, but that was a quick change. We're going to suspend that rule. Now you can do it online, you can do it hybrid, whatever your country is allowing you to do. And we did that for 4 years, and we got used to it. And some of us liked it, and some of us, like me, my home club, which used to be a little small town club, is now 30 members, and 30% of it is international. So we have international members who want to compete, but they're not flying here from South Korea or Saudi Arabia in order to go to an area contest or a division contest or even a district contest. And we had to tell them, you can compete in the club contest, but you can't compete afterwards. And I mean, what TI did was when COVID isn't over, but when COVID seemed manageable, TI just said, you know that rule we suspended, we're no longer suspending it. Again, they made the fast decision. Now, if you can imagine the difficulty of trying to amend the rules so that you could allow hybrid contests and make it fair, it would be a headache, and it will be a headache. And somebody's going to be talking about it. And I haven't looked at the January 30th notes that Rick was mentioning, but I'm going to. Okay. Other questions, other issues? Anybody? So one of the things that has been mentioned to me by a couple of people, and I would imagine this is a fear lurking in the minds of a lot of Toastmasters, especially if you look geographically. Well, geographically, the center of this district is going to be the middle of Canada. So if you look population-wise, the center of this district is going to be in the greater Seattle area. The current District 2 has a number of clubs equal to 32 and 9 combined. And so the population center is still going to be in that greater Seattle area. It would be very easy if you're in Fairbanks, Alaska, or Aberdeen, Washington, or over in Spokane, or the Tri-Cities area. It'd be very easy to think, no one's going to listen to us. No one's going to care about us. Our voice isn't going to be heard, or we're not going to be represented. And I'm not going to sit here and promise that every all voices are going to be heard. What I am saying is one of the reasons I volunteered to be the PR person for the merger is so that I make sure that the word is getting out to people, to everybody, everywhere, and that everybody is hearing everything. Everyone's getting the same information. And that our communications, as best as I'm able to make them, treats everybody equally. There was another district that's one of the other districts that's being merged. I was having a conversation with a international director, and they were telling a past international director, and they were telling me one of the district leaders from District A was talking about, well, we're going to be merged with District B, and they were talking about, well, we're going to welcome them into our district. No, wrong language. You're not welcoming them into your district. The two of you are being merged into a combined district that happens to have that name, happens to have that number. You're not welcoming somebody into your district like they're a guest. You are equal members with equal voices. Now, I am pleased to see that in our district leadership, our district leaders, we have 2 nominees for Club Growth Director. They both happen to be from District 32. We have 2 nominees for Program Quality Director. One is from District 32, one is from District 2. The District Director nominee is from District 2. We have no nominees from District 9 this year. I would expect next year or the year after to get some. District 9 district leadership is just exhausted. So they're going to take a year off. Maybe 2, but at least a year off to recoup. So we do have representation in that trio. And of course, the part of that district executive committee is the area directors and division directors, and those are very definitely geographically placed. Other questions, other comments, other concerns?
This is Vicki. Are you able to tell us who the candidates are, or do we have to wait till the showcase to?
No. If you give me a second, I'll tell you. I have the information. I just need to navigate to it. Okay, here's the district leader report. So, first of all, I want to thank everybody. There were a lot of representatives on the leadership committee from District 2, from 32, from 9, a lot of participation. So I'm going to start at the top and work down. The district director nominee is Anu, I always have a problem with her last name, Jakonen. I think it's
Joe Kinnan.
Jokinen, thank you. Thank you. My apologies, Anu. Program Quality Director candidates, Roberta Craig and Roxanne Spring. Club Growth Director candidates, Brian Besnick and Joanna Tavera. Division A candidate is Erin Long. Division B is open. We still need somebody for that. Division C is Shaquille Pagoku. Division D is open. We still need somebody. Division E, Joyce Vick. Division F, Mikey Miller. Division G, Roy Cooley. Division H, Nancy Shatu. Division I, Carolyn Curley. Now, those are all elected positions, and we need a quorum. We need a quorum. Sorry, Rick. We need a quorum at the district council meeting, the combined district council meeting on May 20th. So you need to sign up if you are a president or a VPE. You need to be there so that your vote can count.
And the division directors can be floor candidates for B and D.
Right, for the two that are open.
Yes.
We can have a floor
Right.
candidate for Division B, but to be a floor candidate, you have to let your district director know a week or more in advance of the meeting. You can't wait till Tuesday night, the 20th, and say, "Hey, I want to run."
Correct.
Could you repeat again the divisions that are going to submit
Open,
their candidate?
Division B and Division D.
Okay.
Now, I can't tell you what those geographies are off the top of my head, but I'm going to be posting the realignment, the district alignment report in the blog tonight or tomorrow, and you'll be able to look at that and go, "Oh, that's Division B, that's Division D." Janice Carmichael, you have a question?
Yes, I guess it's more of a statement in that we have enough trouble getting both speech competitors and even area directors at our little areas. And when you're talking about this vast combination, I get very nervous about our ability to get people to volunteer to compete as well as serve as area directors. I already know how much time it is to even put in at an area director. I can't even imagine a district director and the time element there and above. So to not even consider, or I mean, I'm glad we're talking about hybrid. To me, it shouldn't even be a conversation because the time and expense that you're telling people to commit is incredible. We have a lot of working professionals in my group, and boy, they're not going to be able to do anything. So it's more of a comment or a thing that we to not. I know we're considering hybrid situations, which is not perfect, but it's very doable. It's like the working at home issue for employment. I fought for years as a working mom to have the ability to work at home, and everyone told me no. Now it's commonplace because
Yep.
people recognize so anyway, I'll just put that out there. I'm very concerned about it, and that, yeah, I'll end there.
So I'm not going to disagree with anything you said. I think everything you said is right on. One of the things TI has done as a halfway step is they added a new contest. It used to be international speech, and then humor, tall tales, table topics, and eval. That was it. They added another one called the online contest. So a district can choose to do an online contest. Now, it's not a hybrid, it's online, and it doesn't go past the district. It doesn't go all the way to international, you know. So it's just like table topics. It's a, you know, it only goes to the district level and stops. So a district could choose to do an online contest or not, and in which case you would handle it. The real complications come in, the real complexities come in is if you're trying to actually do a hybrid contest where some people are online and some people are in the room. And how do you make that fair? And I honestly can't answer that. I'm not
Well,
saying it's not a solvable problem. I'm just
it worked well at the club level.
right, but clubs can do anything they want. Clubs don't even have to hold a contest. They can just say, Bob, you're going to represent us at the area level. Clubs can just have a vote for the best speaker of the day and say, okay, Sharon, you are the best speaker of the day. You're going to represent us at the district level. Or they can hold the full contest. Clubs can do whatever they want. It's as soon as you get outside the club that all the rules fall in place to make everything fair.
Which is what I would like to see changed.
Yeah.
Because it is a doable thing at the higher levels. Maybe not at the international and maybe not at the, I don't know, regional, but
yeah,
at the lower levels, it's a doable thing.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm just saying somebody has to work through the difficulty of that. And TI is a brontosaurus, not a velociraptor. It's slow and ponderous. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Kyle, I'd like to say thank you for taking this on.
You're welcome.
It's refreshing to have the perspective that you're giving it. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm trying, and after the fact, if there's something you think should have been talked about here, something you think I missed, something you disagree with, send me an email, talk to me. Send me an email if you want something in the merger blog. If you haven't seen the merger blog, it's being hosted on District 32's website. Go over and look for the District Realignment link and click on it. I'm trying to put there, I'm trying to keep a current status of what's going on in the district merger and also answer people's questions. I haven't been getting very many questions, but hopefully that'll change.
Are the various committees creating notes that they would be willing to share as part of the blog, like the transition team?
Well, that's a good question. I have been getting notes because I'm on the transition team. I don't know if I can share them. I'll have to find out. Good question. The reports from the district leadership committee, that report is available, and the district alignment committee, that report's available. I just haven't had the time to get it out there yet. Give me another day or two. Roxanne, you had a question?
It's more of a comment.
Okay.
I wonder if you are utilizing AI for the meetings, if the AI meetings could be provided to the general membership. It's a question.
I know for the transition committee, they are using the Zoom AI to do meeting summaries and notes.
Right. That's why I ask. If that could be approved by TI, then there would be transparency that I think would be beneficial for everyone to be able to have access to.
I'll ask the committee chair about that. Any other questions?
If I may again, please, Kyle, if you're interested in finding the board minutes, type in the search engine on the World Headquarters website, meeting minutes. And that takes you to the page where all the board minutes are listed for the last 10 plus years. And the January 30th does contain the speech contest for next year.
Okay. I bet that website's going to get a few hits in the next few minutes. Vicki, do you have another question?
I do. Well, first of all, Rick, thanks for sharing that little tidbit. I couldn't find the meeting minutes in print. I listened to the last board meeting recording that that TI released to actually that wasn't minutes, that was just a summary. Anyway,
They will be issued shortly, the March 26th meeting.
Okay. Roxanne, thanks for your comment about transparency. And I think that's really important. We've been talking a lot about this at my home club, about this merger. And in Alaska, when you look at the map of the United States, Alaska and Hawaii are down in the lower corner, and we represent a thumbprint compared to the United States. But Alaska geographically can stretch literally from one side of the US to the other. I mean, we're so large geographically that this is always a concern for us here. We're treated as though we're foreigners. We're not part of the United States. So having the transparency from a large group that is going to influence all of us up here is very important to us. So if we could see some summary of minutes or summary of topics that are being discussed, so we're not up here wondering, okay, well, do they even think about us? It's really important. So if those comments or minutes or a summary or whatever you can provide would be available, we'd like to see it up here. And I don't know if I speak for all of Alaska, but I'm definitely speaking for my own club.
Okay. Thank you, Vicki. Marty?
I just wanted to share that I am a member of District 25 and participate in 2 clubs there as well. And one thing that they are doing that we are not doing that we might consider is they have a weekly blast that comes out from their district director, and linked in that blast is information about the alignment. And there's way more information than anyone should want to have, but it's good for those people that want the detail to have that. So I think we've got Starburst as a tool, and I know that our district director does not overwhelm us with frequent contacts. So anything that Juniper might share and put out in that way as, info or updates or something like that from the district director, I think will get people's attention. I do want you to know in Alaska that I think about you as a part of this process. And as soon as I heard that we were making this effort to come together, I thought, how are we going to do it? Well, if anyone can figure it out, it's those people involved. And I want to know more about Alaska. I want to know what kinds of challenges Toastmasters in Alaska face, the same way that I want to know what kinds of challenges Toastmasters in Spokane face. We may think that we are so different, and we obviously have some unique needs, but the key is that we all want to have a positive Toastmasters experience. And if we don't have enough talent to make that happen, what is wrong with us? I do not believe that we don't have that talent. So it's just a matter of paying attention to what Vicki is saying and making sure that no perspective is marginalized, and that we recognize that just because it's not in our backyard doesn't mean that it's not important and pertinent, particularly in a movement like this. So I'm glad that this was offered, and I would encourage you all to be forthright, and those connections that you have to your district leadership, however it is that it happens, just keep saying the same thing. I just want to know. I want to have visibility. I want to be able to see what's going on. I don't want to find out after the fact. Thanks for that, Kyle.
Thanks, Marty. And also, don't hesitate to tell your area directors and your division directors, hey, we want X. We want hybrid contests. We want, we want to know what the district, what the transition committees are deciding about. Let them know what you want. Wanda?
Thank you and I want to say thanks for letting us outside of your area be part of being able to listen in and understand what this process might look like. Kyle, great job. Yeah, just a couple comments and then a couple questions. Great job in facilitating this, and it looks like you've really been a big part of that. May I ask, how big is the transition committee? Is it district folks, international folks?
The transition committee is mostly made up of the district leadership for 9, 2, and 32. So, and maybe a couple of extra people. So we're talking 11, 12 people. I don't think it's that big. Now, it may form subcommittees. And like, for instance, one of those subcommittees might be district history subcommittee, or hey, we need to merge the membership lists for the 3 districts. So there may be a membership list merging committee that has a short, task. District website committee to figure out which parts of the 3 websites we're going to keep and which parts we're not. So there may be subcommittees formed, but the top level committee is like 9 to 11 people, I think.
Okay. Okay. Well, and I'm sure the region advisor helps, or, helping facilitate maybe some of that.
That may be happening. I'm not aware of it if it is.
Oh, okay. Well, and then the other question I have, and maybe these are also in part of the notes, I'm hoping to get a little bit more caught up too in some of those board meeting notes, but have they said if they're going to be looking at districts kind of on a annual basis going forward? Your 3 districts are being affected now, and then next year, have they already decided? I'm seeing Rick's head nod. Yes. Okay.
Rick says that. So I know the process is going to roll out across the U.S. and across the world. I do not believe we're going to be doing district realignments every year like we do area and division alignments within a district every year. I don't think they're going to do that. One of the things they did, I'm going to give Rick a chance to comment on this in a second.
Okay.
One of the things they did, they told us they wanted districts between 120 and 180 clubs. Well, we came back with a recommendation for 2 districts that were both around 200 clubs. But one of the things we said is, all these 3 districts, 9, 2, and 32, all of them have been dropping in membership for the last several years. We're trying to turn that around, but things don't get turned around immediately. So we wanted to form a larger than 180 club district so that if we lose some clubs, we're still a viable district. And the last thing we want to do is have 140 clubs drop 20 clubs, and now we have to merge again with somebody else. This is a pain in the butt. You don't want to do it. So they're going to be forming larger districts so that those districts can go for several years and hopefully grow. I mean, all things, if we can make a magic wand and grow things, we would grow Alaska clubs to the point where they could be their own district, and Washington could be its own district, and so forth. That would be the ideal scenario. Rick, you had a comment on that?
Yes, plan for next year, 26, 27, is the groupings of districts 7, 15, 39, and 57. They're in the talking process right now, and each of the districts has a person on the committee, and Mary Morrison is the chair of that group. And you can go to the dashboard and see the current numbers: 7, 15, 39, and 57.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, we have moments left. I appreciate you all coming. I hope this has been valuable to you. If you have, Tommy, I think you were raising your hand. Did you have a comment?
Well, yes, thank you, Kyle. One, I did put the link to all of the TI international minutes in the chat. Just a couple of thoughts. One, Vicky, I want to ditto what Marty said, because everybody down here doesn't feel like that about Alaska. I have former students in southeastern Alaska. I have friends in extreme mainland Alaska who are teachers. And 2 thoughts. One is I say with that is with the 3 districts combining, it's going to provide us all a chance, I hope, and I'm talking especially for District 32, since we have the most, is to farm out and support clubs in former 9 and former 32, and find where we can support other clubs. My other thought was, and this goes to district leadership, and I'm speaking as a former TRIO member and former other district positions. So much of what we do depends on networking at the district level. Of, you know, everybody calling and knowing. I mean, it works with contest, everything else. And we're going to have some expanded thinking and networking with the new district leadership to broaden out all of that network and possibly even form some inter-district networking events so we can all start getting to know each other. I mean, I know a few people in 9, I probably know more in 32, but I don't know what's going on. And if we're going to merge, there needs to be something other than just district leadership to bring us together.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy. That was part of my thought about having the outgoing trio from each of the 3 districts, maybe as an advisory committee or on an advisory team for the new incoming trio, just so each district has a fair a fair representation in how this all plays out.
Well, look at it this way. One of the conversations I've had, traditionally, the immediate past district director is the mentor to the director, program quality director, and club growth director, is a formal mentor for those people. Now, next year's district director, program quality director, and club growth director will have 3, potentially 3 mentors, not including their regional advisor and international director. So there may be an abundance of mentoring going on, and I hope that's true. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to a halt. We've been here for 1 hour and 2 minutes. I hope you've gotten value out of it. I've enjoyed the participation in this, and I know that June is going to be planning the next town hall meeting for the 8th of May. If you have suggestions, let her know. She may already have a topic planned. My last comment is, while all 3 districts have newsletters and websites, I want to compliment Josh Heineman. He does a very good job putting together the District 2 Starburst. And if you're not from District 2, but you want to get the Starburst, you can go to their website and sign up and start getting it. He does a very good job putting it together and keeping it current with information. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording.